Hello everybody from Plant Reviews. Today the 9th of January and I'll talking today about how to plant iris seeds. In particular these are seeds of tall bearded iris. And unfortunately I didn't tag the variety these come from because it's from my garden and during the first year I planted irises that were well, without really tagging what I was planting in the garden, so I'm not too sure about the variety. Anyway, this variety blooms with beautiful pastel pink flowers, so I decided to put it in. I decided to put the seeds anyway in the pot and see what happens. I just took out from the pot a small pellet of clay, a clay pellet, because iris seeds, like all seeds, they need a pretty well fine soil to grow in. So ingredients for iris seeds sowing are a pot full of compost. The multi-purpose compost is perfectly fine, I found, for growing iris seedlings. Some more compost to cover the seeds after you plant them, and again some gravel, some fine grit. The procedure is very similar to the procedure already showed about how sowing tulips, with the difference that while tulip seeds like lily seeds are very flat, and they can really, these are tulip seeds, these are the tulip Barcelona I planted some days ago, and these are the remaining seeds I have in here. As you can see, these ones can be easily blown off by the wind. They are really flat and thin, so they can really easily blown off. While iris seeds, as you can see, are a lot bigger, and they are not blown off by the wind. So really, if you want, you can also plant them outside, as I did many times. However, even if they can't really be easily blown off by the wind when you're sowing them, I think it still is nice to plant the iris seeds in the warmth of your house rather than in the cold outside. So well, let's start. With the iris seeds need, as usual, pretty well drained soil. I found that the multipurpose compost is absolutely fine as long as you don't press it too much, so it's still able to be quite soft for the seeds. And basically you need to plant the seeds in a row, separated about 1-2 centimeters. I found that iris seeds sometimes do not some varieties of iris seeds don't have a really good germinability rate. So even if when you plant the seeds is okay 1.5 centimeters apart, and then if you have a germinability higher than expected, you can divide the seedlings anyway the year after. Anyway, the flowers, the iris plants usually flower only after 3 years, so 3 years from sowing. So you put the seeds at the surface of the compost, as you can see. Not sure. No, yeah, it's better like this. Actually, so you can see I planted them in a row. I put the rest of the seeds here. I will put the seeds later on the pot. Yeah, I will continue with the seeds in the rest of the pot afterwards. And after this, after putting the seeds in a row, you just sprinkle them with a tiny bit of compost, just enough to cover the seeds. They needs to be about 0.5 millimeter, that is half a centimeter. Try obviously to avoid to cover with these big lumps of compost, but just scrambling it around, so it is quite fine to cover the iris seeds. And then you put some grit on top, because the grit discourages slugs and snails to climb, to move around the pot and eating the iris, because basically the grit is quite absorbing. The grit quite absorbs the slime and the mucus basically of snails and slugs, therefore are pretty discouraged from walking, from moving. Well, I will say, slugs and snails don't really walk. They move around. Doing this, putting the grit, they are pretty discouraged to basically end up with the seedlings that tend to munch, to eat quite happily. So what I will do is just continue to putting the seeds of these iris in a row, and after this covering with some compost and with the grit as I showed you. After this I will put the pot outside. Iris seeds, this particular iris, the tall bearded iris, to which group belong the most common varieties that are grown in gardens. They need a period of cold to trigger germination in the spring. I hope that now that is the 9th of January is already not too late to trigger germination. Usually iris seeds germinates in March, April, so hopefully will be cold enough. The cold period will be long enough to trigger the germination of the seeds in spring, and hopefully this spring around late March, April I will have the first seedlings coming up. I planted some more seeds in the past few days of irises of different varieties, or different plants anyway, if I didn't tag them, and I will see if this spring I will be successful or not. Last year I was pretty successful using this technique, and actually some pots were not even covered with grit, and luckily the irises germinated fine. Problem was that unfortunately I lost some iris seedlings due to slugs and snails, so I decided this year to be a little bit more careful. As I said, put them outside the period of cold weather. Do not worry if it's raining or ice or cold or snow. The iris seeds will survive and actually will be able to germinate due to the period of cold. Also, another recommendable thing to do is cover the pot with a net. In this way you will discourage birds like blackbirds coming to investigate the pot and starting digging it around looking for worms, or discouraging rodents as well, that if you use a strong net, that might as well decide to explore the content of the pot. I found that for iris seeds, rodents are not really a big issue. They are a much bigger issue if you have tulip bulbs in a pot, because I found that the smell evidently is really attracting for the rodents, and even if you put stones or you put dead leaves on top of a pot, they're still able to smell them and selectively eat the tulip bulbs in the pots. Where are they? I found that even putting tulip pots and daffodil pots just spread around the rodents, and I believe they are rats, because I found munched bulbs and the bites are quite big, will be able to differentiate which ones contain tulips and which ones contain daffodils, and we will go for tulips, I believe, because tulips must be edible. Daffodils must be either poisonous or at least not, their smell is not really attractive for the rats. Anyway, back to the irises, so cover with a net and just wait a few weeks of winter until in spring you will find these irises germinating. I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it useful. Thanks very much for watching. If you would like to give any comment, if you like to get any more information, obviously please write a comment down below and I will try to respond as soon as possible. Obviously, also if you'd like to support my channel, it would be great if you can please subscribe. In this way you can get also updates when I publish new videos, and I hope you will continue to visit my channel. Thank you very much for watching and hope to see you next time. Bye.